Anyways, let's move on to some climate change news. We've talked about narcissism long enough. Let's get into this news about the floods in France and Italy. Corpses, corpses washed from cemeteries in France and Italy floods. It's from today. Gruesome find comes as 12 people are reported killed with a further 20 still missing. Oh, yes. Hold on. Hold on. The task of searching for victims. Yes. Searching for victims of the French and Italian floods in alpine villages and on nearby coasts has grown more gruesome. As authorities have said, corpses from cemeteries have been swept down the mountain by violent rains. A spokeswoman for France's Alpes Maritimes Regional Administration, badly hit by the storm along with the Italian regions of Liguria and Piedmont, said it was unclear where the bodies had come from, but corpses unearthed from cemeteries had washed up on the Italian side. Ooh. The cemetery corpses were in such an advanced state of decomposition that they were clearly distinguishable from recent storm victims, the spokeswoman told the Associated Press. That is, yeah, that's pretty morbid. Local authorities said cemeteries in the French towns of Saint-Martin, Vesube, or Vesube, I don't know, Vesube, and Tende were partially washed out by the floods. The mayor of Tende, Jean-Pierre Vassallo, told La Parisienne newspaper that the village cemetery was cut in two and bodies were unearthed. Well, there you go. Climate change, the gift that keeps on giving. This is a story out of Australia. Inside Australia's climate emergency, the Dead Sea. The ocean around southern Australia is a global heating hotspot. One man has watched entire sea forests disappear in his lifetime. And it's a little bit of a visual article, if it's going to work for me. Hello, guys. There are few places in the world where you can dive among giant kelp forests like those that used to flourish along the Tasmanian east coast. Growing up to 40 meters from the ocean floor, the forest protected a vibrant ecosystem of sponge garden, fur seals, crayfish, weedy sea dragons, and countless fish species. Mick Barron, a dive instructor and trained biologist, has watched them disappear. The forest started to die in the north of Tasmania in the 1960s. Barron first noticed them vanishing from the deep Glen Bay, a short boat ride northeast of his dive center at Eagle Hawk Neck in the late 1990s. The sea along the Tasmanian east coast is a global heating hotspot. Temperatures there have risen at nearly 4 times the global average. They are about 2°C hotter than a little over a century ago. Warm water pushed down the coast by the East Australian current has stripped the area of nutrients, brought new marine species, and killed more than 95% of the giant kelp. The impact on local ecosystems and fisheries has been severe. Our whole ocean has effectively shifted to the south. So let's look at this. Some graphs. Sea surface warming over time in Australia's southern ocean. So here we are here. 2013 was the hottest year, but we are clearly in the red. Solidly in the red. During a marine heat wave, some areas can be almost 3°C hotter than they were 25 years ago. Here you go. 1994 here and 2016 here. It's one of the worst, if not the worst, place in the world for kelp forest loss, he says. The composition of the ocean community has nearly completely changed. So let's look at this. Oh, I don't know if we can get any more of this. Anyways, I thought they were going to show us a little more. My apologies. But there you go. That's the story. The kelp forests of Tasmania have been disappearing, as well as the coral reefs, the Great Barrier Reef, etc. Let's look at some more sad news. This is also out of Australia. There's something called the Narrabri gas project that is being allowed to continue, which is destructive. Again, another fossil fuel project, given the green light. Everything toxic about the Australian climate inaction contained with the Narrabri gas project. So nothing is quite as simple as the molten core of climate action, leaving carbon in the ground instead of pulling it out and forcing it into the sky where it traps heat and kills people in cities and societies. It is a simple and urgent maxim. We know it is being badly ignored. Between 2020 and 2024, the oil and gas industry plans to sink $1.4 trillion into new extraction projects. This would lock in 148 gigatons of cumulative carbon dioxide emissions, equivalent to 1,200 new U.S. coal-fired power plants, found a December 2019 report led by Oil Change International. And we just read something similar about this in the Exxon story yesterday. It is also found that new oil and gas development in Australia threatens to double the carbon pollution enabled by the country's oil and gas production through 2050. Right? So they want to double it. The carbon pollution unlocked by new oil and gas extraction projects could total nearly 13 gigatons of CO2. For context, that would be the carbon equivalent of opening nearly 3 new coal mines on the scale of the controversial Adani Carmichael project. As it was originally proposed, its proposed size was reduced at the end of 2018. According to that report, Australia sits at number 6 in the world in planned oil and gas expansion before 2024. There are lots of people, each with plenty of power, working hard to violate a basic principle of the protection of human life and seek profit from something they know is a harmful activity. This is a serious and terrifying problem that something so fundamental is so easily rejected, and it is neatly summarized by a big new project being pushed by a fossil fuel giant. Narrabri Gas is a coal seam gas project in New South Wales, Australia. The plan is for the production of around 73 petajoules of fossil gas every year from 850 gas wells. The project is before the NSW Independent Planning Commission this week, with public hearings broadcast on the state government agency's website. There's already been plenty of news about it, and you'll hear more for sure. Already, it's becoming clear that the NSW government has been captured by the false narrative that you need fossil fuels to ditch fossil fuels. Right? It's a bridge fuel, a transition fuel. An abusively circular mythology that declares a fossil gas as a must-have for any renewable development to balance the grid as a quote-unquote transition fuel. Ha ha ha. Yeah, guys, we're gonna need some more of these fossil fuels if we're gonna get off fossil fuels. It's just gonna have to happen, I mean, come on, guys. We already know that this is as egregious a lie, as bad as climate change denial. In some ways, it's worse because it has become socially acceptable to advocate for fossil fuel growth in this way. I mean, come on, it just makes sense. We're gonna need something. We're gonna need some more fossil fuels to get us off of fossil fuels. we're going to need to build a lot of electric cars, right, guys? To get us off the fossil fuels. I've written about why it's wrong here. Anyways, yeah, so that's happening in Australia. I'm not going to cover much more of that. Let's move on back to California and the forest fires. This is from yesterday. California has its first Gigafire in modern history. What is a Gigafire? A Gigafire is 1 million acres burned. In August, researchers warned we would have to add Gigafire to the lexicon to describe wildfires in California. Now it's become part of the history books. On Monday, the August complex in Northern California surpassed 1 million acres burned, the threshold for a Gigafire. It makes the first Gigafire in modern history for California, more than doubling the total acreage burned for the previous record-setting fire. The August complex is a series of blazes that on their own would be in the record books, but the fires that began in the freak mid-August lightning siege have merged into one monster fire that's now larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. The fire complex is only 54% contained and burning through rugged, remote mountains across 7 counties. Conditions are conducive for it to keep burning, with CAL FIRE noting that temperatures will remain 10 to 15 degrees above normal and relative humidity values will fall into the teens on Monday. The superlatives attached to the August complex fire are many. It's more than double the size of the Mendocino complex, a similar conglomeration of fires that burned in 2018 and was the largest wildfire ever recorded in California before the August complex fire. There you go. So that happened. Guys, we have 114 watching, 44 likes. Please like up the video, and if you are new, please subscribe. Let's move on. Pretty alarming news out of India, or Sri Lanka to be exact. Heartbreaking images show elephant herd eating garbage at Sri Lankan refuse facility where they accidentally consume plastic while foraging for food. Excuse me. Wild elephants have been photographed eating rubbish at a dump, encroaching on their habitat in Oliville. Excuse me. The herd of 25 to 30 animals have been forced to forage for food at the dump, which poses risks to their health. Microplastics and non-digestive polythene have been found in the waist and stomachs of the elephants. Oh, man. Nice. Excuse me. Wild elephants in Sri Lanka have been found with plastic products and non-digestive polythene in their stomachs after eating rubbish at a dump, encroaching on their habitat. Heartbreaking images, and I just read all of this. I'll show you some of these pictures. Poor guys. Oh, yes, the beauty of capitalism. We're going to export some more freedom. Freedom to buy things. We're going to export this all over the world. Look at the loveliness that this brings. That our way of life brings to the rest of the planet. Don't you feel good? Doesn't it make you feel awesome? Doesn't it make you feel complete? Doesn't it make you feel successful? Doesn't it make you feel like you just did something right today? But, you know, consume. And I'm going to read this. This could be seen as good news. Other people might think this is not good news, or this is tech utopianism, or hopium, or I don't know what you want to call it. But it's an interesting story nonetheless. World's first shipment of blue ammonia fuel is on its way to Japan from Saudi Arabia. This is from September 27th. Japan aims to be the world leader in the use of hydrogen. We've read a couple of things about hydrogen and the fact that it takes fossil fuels to make hydrogen. But anyways, we'll move on. Hydrogen, which is contained in ammonia and is committed to reducing its greenhouse gas emissions 26% by 2030 from 2013 levels. Okay. Well, I mean, all right, we'll just take this on face value and we'll just say this is, maybe this is a good thing. But we're going to dissect this a little bit probably too. The world's first shipment of blue ammonia is on its way from Saudi Arabia to Japan, where it will be used in power stations to produce electricity without carbon emissions. We hope. Saudi Aramco, which made the announcement Sunday, produced the fuel, which it does by converting hydrocarbons, that means fossil fuels, into hydrogen and then ammonia, and capturing the carbon dioxide byproduct. Okay. Japan will receive 40 tons of blue ammonia in the first shipment, Aramco said. This sounds so blue ammonia. Sounds either super deadly or super cool. Ammonia can be burned in thermal power stations without releasing carbon emissions. That means it has the potential to make a significant contribution to an affordable and reliable low-carbon energy future, according to state-controlled Aramco. The fact that they are saying this raises my eyebrows, or at least one eyebrow, significantly. Japan aims to be the world leader in the use of hydrogen, which is contained in ammonia. The country has committed to reducing its greenhouse gas emissions 26% by 2030 from 2013 levels under the Paris Climate Pact. Blue ammonia is a feedstock for blue hydrogen, which is contained in ammonia. The country is committed to reducing its... hold on. I keep reading the same thing over and over again. With a process that captures and stores CO2 emissions. Okay. Hydrogen from renewable energy that creates no emissions is known as green hydrogen. Okay. Well, I mean, and it might be green. How green is it? Golly gee, I wonder. Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest oil exporter, is increasingly trying to counter its reputation for producing dirty energy. Alrighty. Good for them. I guess this is a good PR move. In recent months, Aramco has highlighted the low volume of greenhouse gases emitted from pumping Saudi crude, programs to boost gas production, and plans to grow carbon-absorbing mangroves. Okay. Awesome. Good job, Aramco. U.S. firm Air Products and Chemicals, Inc. Good name. Good name. Signed an accord in July with Saudi-based ACWA Power International and the kingdom's planned futuristic city of Neom to develop a $5 billion hydrogen-based ammonia plant powered by renewable energy. Okay. Well, I hope this is some kind of technological silver bullet of the future. I hope. We have high hopes. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel at the links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there, and thanks so much.